Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Grant Boxlight, and we're following breaking news this half hour. Sarasota County officials have confirmed to SNN that 5 people fell from a high wire during rehearsal at Circus Sarasota. Circus officials say the wire was between 20 and 25 feet high. It happened under the big top near the mall at University Town Center. We're told 8 total people were on the wire at the time of the fall, including well-known daredevil Nick Wallenda. In fact, you're looking at a earlier footage and practice of this. It's called the human pyramid. And we know Nick Wallenda was on the wire at the time, but he was among 3 people who did not fall. They were practicing this stunt on the wire, getting ready for Friday's show. Wallenda was anchoring the high wire act at the time of this incident. Now, ambulances rushed 4 people to Sarasota Memorial Hospital with neck and back injuries. Another circus performer was taken to Lakewood Ranch Medical Center with minor injuries. Now, the Circus Sarasota production is celebrating its 20th year. Circus founder and CEO Pedro Reis told the news media during an earlier press conference that the show must go on. Circus Sarasota Synergy is scheduled to open on Friday, and right now you're looking at some aerial video that was taken a little bit earlier this afternoon of the big top for this Friday show that they were preparing for when this accident did occur. And we also played in its entirety that press conference earlier this afternoon, but there was some issues with the sound regarding the wind that was blowing out there. But we've cleaned up that audio now, and we do want to play that press conference again for anybody who wasn't able to tune in. Let's go to that press conference and hear what the circus officials and emergency officials had to say.
Good afternoon. We had a tragedy today here in Sarasota, here at Circus Sarasota. The final act was practicing their final act, like I said, and there was an accident, tragic accident, where all 8 members of that act fell from the wire and were injured. A number of them were injured. We have since transported all people that were injured at the scene here, and we currently have 4 patients that were trauma alerts by state criteria, meaning they sustained substantial injury. They were transported to local trauma centers, and we had 1 additional injury that was transported locally here to Lakewood Ranch. We're here to answer any questions you may have and try and give you as much information as we possibly can.
Is Nick Wallenda one of the injured?
Nick Wallenda is not one of the injured. He was part of the act. All 8 did fall from the wire.
What happened? What caused the accident?
I'm going to turn it over to Pedro Reis. He is with Circus Conservatory, and he's going to give you more information as he was here on scene and can give you better detailed information.
Sure. Thank you, Chief. My name is Pedro Reis. I'm the founder and CEO of the Circus Arts Conservatory, and like the Chief said, we had a terrible accident here today, but 8 people did not fall. There were only 5 that fell out of the 8-man pyramid. Accidents do happen, as we know, and circus artists, sometimes we compare ourselves to NASCAR drivers, Formula 1 racing drivers that push the limit. The 8 pyramid was something special that they've been rehearsing. This is not the first time that they've done it. They did it flawlessly yesterday, and I'm sure that Nick Wallenda will want to go back up on the high wire as a true circus artist, and I will tell you that the show must go on. This is not the first accident, obviously, and of course, unfortunately, accidents happen. Thank God nobody was seriously, when I say seriously, nobody was crippled. There were no fatalities, as in the past. So we wish all those that fell a speedy recovery. Our hearts go out to them and their families. And like I said, ladies and gentlemen, the show must go on.
Can you tell us what happened in that moment? It happened?
I cannot tell you exactly what happened. It's a very difficult trick, obviously. There's 8 persons involved, and it's obviously a lot of momentum involved. And if somebody loses a balance, you know, then something can go wrong. And I would say basically that's what happens, that they lost their balance, because it's all about balance on a high wire.
So it had nothing to do with the rigging? Or
Nothing to do with the rigging whatsoever. The rigging did not collapse. The only rigging that came down were the balancing poles that were in their hands and the shoulder bars, but no rigging collapsed.
How high were they?
They were approximately, I would say, 20 feet, 25 feet off the ground.
Is that a practice height, or was that the height that they do?
That was the height that they would do it in.
Now, I understand this was going to be a new world record. Is that right?
This was going to be one of the highest 8-person pyramids ever done. It's been done before, but not at this height.
What's been the height in the past?
I can't answer the question, don't know.
When is the next show?
We open on February 10th. We are in rehearsals right now, and we will go to Plan B, obviously, and come up with a finish. But like I said, you know, the circus is resilient. The circus people are resilient. The show must go on.
Are you able to identify all the people that fell?
I cannot do that exactly right now.
Can you tell us the condition of how they are, the people that fell?
Like I said, there's no fatalities, and I'm sure they'll be back on their feet in a few months. Thank God.
Anything you want to tell family members, friends? We've seen a lot of people rushing out.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously it's a shock to everybody. Everybody knows the Wallanders is the most famous name in American history. And to have a repeated accident like this right here in our hometown, Sarasota, is tragic, obviously. So our hearts go out to everybody, to those that have got injured, and to Nick. Nick is feeling a lot of pain right now, and our prayers go out to Nick and his family, and to all the others as well.
And he wasn't one of the people transported. I just want to make sure that.
Correct, Nick was not. Nick was at the rear of the pyramid, and he did not fall off the wire.
He was up 20 feet.
He was up on the wire, correct.
Was he part of the anchor?
He was the anchor at the back of the pyramid.
What kind of injuries did he sustain? Because you said he's in a lot of pain.
Emotional pain.
And you're looking at some aerial video, and right now I believe we have SNN's Ben Bobick live at the Big Top. Ben, what do you know?
Well, it's definitely a tragic day here, Grant. I was actually one of the first ones on scene. They had us park across the street by the mall, and we really didn't know what was going on at first, and then we could kind of get a little bit closer as we've seen. And a few family members were around, and they had said that, you know, someone might have fallen off the high wire, and obviously, as we know now, it was that 5 people that fell off. And obviously, when people hear high wire, the first person they think of is Nick Luenda, especially with this Circus Sarasota. It's only been a number of weeks since the Ringling Brothers Circus closed its doors, and people were really looking forward to Nick, who's a native here, and he's obviously hurting emotionally, like they said. Now, we do know that 8 people were involved in the final act, and Nick was the anchor of the act, though he did not fall. 5 people did fall, and they said it was about 20 to 25 feet high. Now, they were trying to set a world record. Now, but they obviously did not accomplish that, but this has been done before, 20, 25 feet, so it's not like they were practicing something that's never been done before. But they were trying to set a world record. So, but luckily, they said that it wasn't fatal, no one was crippled, which is obviously a good thing, but I'm assuming some hurt limbs, if not some broken limbs here. When you're falling from that high, it's no joke. So I know that 4 were transported to SMH, 1 was transported nearby here to Lakewood Ranch Medical Center. So it's definitely a sad day. I mean, they opened in a number of days here as the first show, and they were getting ready for their final dress rehearsals, if you will, and this was the final act that they were rehearsing. So it's a sad day, but again, you know, there's a lot to be thankful for in terms of no one died or no one was crippled, but again, it's not a good scene.
Ben, do we know if there was, we hear a lot like during practice and even other circus acts, they've used some extra safety mechanisms in place, like for instance a net. Was there a net at this rehearsal? I assume there was not, if these injuries were what was being described.
Yeah, they didn't say anything about a net. I do know that there was nothing wrong with the rigging of the wires, so none of the wires had snapped, so that didn't cause the fall. It was a matter of just off-balance acts. And you know, when you have 8 people on a wire, you can only imagine with 1 person, 2 people on a wire, but imagine trying to balance 8 people at one time. I mean, it's definitely not safe, and it's nothing to try at home. And this is a clear example of that, why these circus professionals do what they do. But even they, you know, everyone makes mistakes. But again, we don't know if there was a net at all. I mean, I'm assuming that there wasn't, it's being that there was a fall, but we do know that there was nothing wrong with the rigging of the wire. They were just off balance and they fell, and luckily no one was seriously really hurt.
SNN's Ben Bobick reporting live out at the Big Top. Ben, thank you very much for that update, and we are going to follow this incident. Again, 5 people fell off the high wire at Circus Sarasota this afternoon. 4 of them were considered trauma alerts. They're at Sarasota Memorial at this hour. You're looking at aerial footage of the Big Top. They're getting ready to open Friday. You heard the CEO of the circus say the show must go on.